On the Pfaff Quilt Expression 4.2 sewing machine, you will have a place where you can combine lettering. So in the sequencing area, where the A, heart, and B button is, this will open up where you can get to your alphabets. Now let me show you a couple things that we can do here. We did just do the video on decorative stitches, like how you put decorative stitches in here, which is just like you just pick the number and the decorative stitch will start, except unless you pick one that's probably like a buttonhole and it won't let you put it in. How about like stitch number 128? If you just dial it in, those stitches will start to appear. And you can combine decorative stitches and alphabets. So if you wanted to do I, heart, my sewing machine, you could combine those. When you want to delete something, just push the C for clear, and that will clear us back out. So you also have two different font styles, and to get to that other font style, touch F2. That will change those to an open block, but I'll leave it just like the single block, and that will be great. F1 will change you from uppercase to lowercase to any of the other symbols, punctuation, or numbers you want to use. So I'm going to just use capital letters, and to get to each of the letters, you'll just arrow to the letter you want. So if I wanted to go ahead and start to spell out the word Pfaff, I can go ahead and pick each of the letters, and here. Now if I only wanted to sew out one time, I can go ahead and put in a stop button, and then it'll just sew it once, and that's a really easy way to do it. So let's just see what we get when we start to sew. If you just step on the foot control, it'll switch over to the sewing side, and you can also use the start stop button, which is really quite nice because, well, it's you not having to put your foot on the foot control. So here comes that last letter, and we can go ahead and touch the scissors, and that will cut it off. Notice we have the 2A foot on, and we do need to make sure we stabilize, and the dual feed is not. So look at that, how fun is that? So there are spaces, there are places where you can do punctuation. Let's say we want to save this. So you can touch the heart with the arrow pointing into it. And I've already saved one of my decorative stitches that I was playing around with. I actually put it in and then put it in again and then mirror image that. So it actually had its own, it looks like a little bow tie when it stitches out. So if I want to save the word Pfaff or my name or this quilt was made by, whatever you've chosen, the second open or the next open memory is available. Touch OK and it will appear. Oh, with the stop. That's nice. We'll touch that same heart with the arrow to get out of here. And let's just go back to a straight stitch. So tomorrow when I want to sew this out, to retrieve a memory, you're going to touch the heart. And we'll have two choices. What you just saved it in was the sequencing, but you also have the ability to save personal stitches. So up here, if you have a favorite stitch that you always sew, but you always make it longer or wider or adjust the needle position, you can actually save it in the personal stitch menu. And we'll link over here, touch that little I in the upper right corner, and we'll link over to the personal stitch video that you can learn how to save those stitches here. So we're retrieving our words and loading stitches. Do you want number 1 or number 2? And when you touch OK, that will bring it up and bring it back to ready to sew. And you can see it says M2, so like memory 2 as you need it there. All right, so that's how easy it is. If you want to go back to sequencing, you want to delete out. If you push clear, this will delete the whole thing. I didn't delete it out of memory, it just cleared it out here. And now you can go ahead and start, for example, a new sequence. So A and B, and then just a quick little so you can see how it looks. If you wanted to do lowercase, touch F1, that brings it to lowercase, and then C and D. So then that would be what it's going to look like if you had capital letters and lowercase letters all together. If you want to add a little decorative stitch at the end, just type in that number and that decorative stitch will come back. If you want to add that decorative stitch back to the beginning, you could even arrow back, just like a computer. It will let you put a stitch or insert a stitch wherever you'd like it to be. So 129, and I think that should put it at the beginning, and then it'd be ready to stitch.